Hey there, this is Mike. Welcome to Volume 1, Number 4, titled Businesses Getting Real, about social marketing, branding, and realities in today's social media-driven realm. My guest is Pam Moore, founder and CEO of Marketing Nuts and a Forbes Top 10 social media power influencer. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Halftime Mike Podcast, presented by basketball fan and Hoosier native Mike Gingrich, where practical, no-nonsense resourcing on social media, business marketing, and life is presented. Because the adjustments made at halftime help you win the game in the second half.
Hey there, this is Mike Gingrich, and welcome to this week's edition of Halftime Mike. As always in my podcast here, my goal is for this little halftime segment to give you no-nonsense practical tips to help your business marketing. Today, I'm thrilled to have with me a special guest, Pam Moore, CEO and founder of Marketing Nuts. Marketing Nuts is a full-service social business that works with conversion optimization for businesses as an agency. She's a keynote speaker and a Forbes Top 10 social media power influencer. And more than that, she's a passionate marketer, and I'm pleased to call her a friend as well. So thanks, Pam, for being with us today. And why don't you give a shout out to the audience here?
Hello, Mike and everybody else. I'm very pleased to be here today. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks, Pam. And as you know, today we want to talk about business getting real, social marketing, branding, realities in today's social media-driven environment. And I can't think of anyone better to have with me to help equip our audience than you, Pam. You've been, doing this for a long time. You've been doing it very well. And I've just, thinking back to how we've kind of gotten to know each other. I mean, I think it's all been about social media, really, as I've, kind of first saw you on Twitter, began to follow you and, saw your tweets and things like that. So, began responding to some of those. And that's kind of where conversations, started until we've just continued to do things till we've partnered together, and it's grown from there.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's a pleasure. I was telling my partner the other day that working with you and your team, it just doesn't feel like work, and it truly is the power of relationships. And when we all, have common goals, we all have goals and objectives in our own lives and business, and when we can align those and do just awesome things together, it's just pretty much the social icing on the cake.
Yes. Excellent. Pam, I gave a little introduction about you, but why don't you give me a nutshell from your side about yourself and your company, Marketing Nuts?
Yeah, sure. I spent 15 years plus working in corporate America, and I worked with companies from entrepreneurs, startups back in the dot-com age before the bust, up to, Fortune 50, Fortune 100 organizations. And I always everything I ever did, I was always given the projects that they said, Pam, we don't know what to do with this. You have no budget. You have no money. But you need to make $150 million, revenue in the next 18 months. Those were literally the projects I was given. And, we would usually start with a volunteer community. You had maybe 3 or 4 people that were assigned to your project. And, I took some projects where, we grew it to an 800-person business unit. We did meet those revenue goals in 18 months. And we were literally doing social before it was called social media. We had the back forums and the, developer communities, and we were doing all those things, but the hard way back then because we didn't have all the tools. But something I learned very early on in my career and just in business is that it truly is about the power of relationships and connecting with real people and finding a way for you and your brand and your message to reach the human beings on the other side of, wherever you're trying to get. And so I learned really the power of community and tapping into other people's community, which we'll talk a little bit about today, but just being real and authentic in everything that you do, and, you know, rising above the noise by just being human, right? And being different. And it's sad but true that sometimes just being human really does that. And so I was able to, I had an opportunity to leave corporate. Planets kind of aligned, and I hopped onto social, and, you know, was thinking about starting our own company. And I can remember my husband and now partner at the time that works with me full time said, you know, if you can just make a few dollars on the side, you know, that's great. Just you can start a little consultancy. Well, it just kind of went from there. And, you know, I hopped online, and I remember I met Mari Smith, was one of the first people I just happened to meet, and she had a platform at the time, and she was doing some things around certification at that time. And her and I had connected on content, and she liked our tagline, which was Inspire, Connect, Achieve. And Mari invited me to come and speak on her platform. It was a teleseminar. And so I said, sure, you know, of course. And I knew Mari was up to great things, but, you know, I hadn't really spent a lot of time on Twitter, and I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. And so this was within a couple months after I had, you know, thought about starting our own company. And I got on her teleseminar, and I was talking to her audience about just social media and really just branding and how to brand your business in the social world. And I didn't say anything magical. I just said what was in my heart and my brain, and the concepts that I have been working and believe in for the last, you know, 15 plus years. And within minutes, there were literally, and I think I still have them printed off somewhere, there were 20 plus pages of tweets of people retweeting what I said. And I was literally sitting in front of the computer with tears falling down my eyes saying, wow, like, people really like what I have to say, you know? And I wasn't tweeting. I think I had maybe 500 followers at the time on Twitter. And I was just floored. And it was from that moment that I saw the power of what this technology and what this medium can do for our life and our business. And I, you know, within a few short months after that, you know, I'm partnered with Mari, launching, you know, co-authoring with her a book called The Relationship Age, and things just went from there. And so, you know, just the power truly of just relationships and investing in real people.
Yeah, excellent. And I mean, that's what we want to kind of drill into a little bit more today, to talk about, you know, some practical things. A couple things that you mentioned stood out to me, just about how you know, social media has really, you know, infiltrated, it's proliferated. I mean, it's become a marketing force that, you know, all marketers have to deal with, and you know, not just deal with, but to you know, to think about how that's, you know, impacting their entire company, not just marketing, but branding, that type of thing. I mean, you know, from my standpoint, I mean, you know, 2007, getting onto Facebook as a user, and, you know, in 2010, starting TabSite as Facebook pages came out. You know, I mean, our entire, you know, business, TabSite, you know, is born out of, you know, social media, and you know, giving businesses tools to communicate via Facebook in a greater way on their pages, and that's been an amazing thing to ride that wave, which has now just become a normal part of our lives, social media, and it's changed marketing, it's changed businesses, and you said about two-way communication, with that really stood out to me. So why don't we, you know, say a little bit more about businesses in their marketing, even in their branding, and the need to be engaging in two-way conversation.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you hit some good points in that the game has honestly changed, and it is no longer about, you know, creating the corporate collateral and pushing that out. And because I lived those days, I can remember creating that corporate content, and as long as you had that corporate content done a couple times a year, you were good to go, right? Or some people thought you were. And so it really is about now not taking that same corporate content, which is what I see so many brands doing and failing, and they take their old ways and they try to force fit it into Facebook, okay? And I always say that your business, social media needs to fit into your business, not your business force fitting into Facebook. And they need to truly take a step back and think about the two-way communication and how important it is that their communication and their content is goal-driven, right? It's what are you wanting to communicate, and why does anybody care of what you're going to say, and why do they care you exist? And it's, being truly focused on your audience and being transparent in a way that is authentic. And, one of the key things when we're talking about being real is just that organizations honestly confuse the two words of authenticity and transparency. And authenticity is, more defined as who are you, and are you honest in what you're saying and doing? Are you telling me the truth, or are you telling me a lie? Okay. Transparency is more about how much are you going to share with me? Are you sharing what you had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? How old your kids are? What you're doing? Are your secrets? What's your secret sauce of your business that you're whipping up in the back office? That's transparency. And people often and brands often confuse. They think if they're not sharing every single thing about their life and their business, that they're not being authentic. And the truth is, you're going to have different levels of transparency with different audiences. And so they really need to think about that transparency and not confuse it with authenticity. And know, once you launch your business onto a social platform, and when I do keynote speeches and training, I have one slide that has a fishbowl. So imagine a fishbowl, and in the fishbowl there's this cute little fish, and he's got a door that says exit, but the door can't go anywhere because it's inside the fishbowl, right? And so that's very much the analogy I think businesses should think about. Once you launch Facebook, you're on Facebook. If you're a brand of any size, it's going to be really hard for you to shut down that fishbowl, right? You're there and everybody's looking at you. And so you really need to think about who you are, who your audience is, why you're there, and know that once you're there, you really can't run and hide. And even if, before you get on the social networks, the chances that your clients and your audiences are already talking about you is very high.
Yeah.
And the question is just, do you want to be part of that conversation or not? Ignoring it isn't going to make it go away, right? The best thing you can do is jump in there and be a positive part of that.
Yep. So what I take from that is, it's definitely, you can't do a push mentality. Here's our latest and greatest and leave it at that with social media marketing. Right.
Yeah. And that's what, you see a lot of people doing, and they'll all day just push and push and push and push out content and tweets and auto tweets and, 24 hours a day. And really, if you take a step back and you look at through their stream and your own stream of communication, what's the purpose of it all? Is your purpose to get retweets, right? Is that your whole goal, or is your goal to gain the hearts and minds of your target audience, and bring them closer to your brand and have them just want to be raving fans about your business and, loyal customers and that's why I said, the first thing is really being goal driven and evaluating everything that you're putting out there and making sure that it is, actionable. If I'm asking somebody to take an action on a tweet or a link or a video, make sure that the action that the audience is taking is valuable to them, not just to you.
Yeah, valuable to them.
It needs to be relevant. Yeah, valuable and relevant to them, and something that can resonate with, where they are. What's the emotion that they're feeling? What's the belief? Is it believable? And is it something that's going to inspire and educate them?
Yeah. Now I really like that fishbowl picture that you painted there as well. Just because once you're on a social network, as a business, you are in this fishbowl, and there's other things that can be going on inside of that bowl.